Poverty is not what you've been taught to believe. It is not misfortune. It is not oppression, and it is absolutely not a lack of opportunity. Poverty is a psychological shield, a narrative you build to justify remaining exactly where you are. The world is not attacking you. It is filtering you. And before we go any further, if that sentence hit you, subscribe and turn on notifications, because what comes next will dismantle everything you think you understand about success and failure. This is not entertainment. This is a lens that will either sharpen you or expose you. Most people will leave within the next 30 seconds. They will retreat to their comfortable illusions, back to blaming the economy, their parents, their circumstances. But you're still here, which means something inside you recognizes the truth, even if it stings. Machiavelli understood something modern motivation culture refuses to admit. The world does not reward goodness. It rewards capability. Not the ability to fantasize, but the ability to withstand pressure when quitting feels logical. Look around you. 99% of people exist inside a manufactured reality where effort is applauded, but outcomes don't matter. Where participation is celebrated, but dominance is considered immoral. They've been conditioned to avoid discomfort, to label boredom as illness, to chemically suppress any emotion that isn't instant gratification. And the system thrives on this, because comfortable minds are predictable, and predictable minds are controllable. Here's the truth no one tells you. The resistance you're experiencing is not a malfunction. It is the mechanism. Pressure is not cruelty, it is selection. Every marketplace, every career ladder, every serious relationship contains built-in friction. That friction isn't designed to stop you. It exists to eliminate everyone else. The moment you stop asking why it's difficult and start asking how to operate while it's difficult, you separate yourself from the 99% still waiting for life to soften. Machiavelli would recognize this immediately. In 1503, he observed Cesare Borgia take control of the Romagna, not through larger armies, but through superior psychological stamina. While his enemies waited for ideal conditions, Borgia advanced through winter storms. While they debated tactics in warm chambers, he acted in chaos. Endurance became dominance. History doesn't reward those who wait. It rewards those who can move when conditions are hostile. And that same filter is operating on you, right now. He was in the field executing flawed strategies in real time. The gap wasn't intelligence or funding. It was tolerance for discomfort. And that tolerance became his unfair advantage. This is exactly how pressure functions in the modern arena. Your competitors aren't necessarily outworking you in the traditional sense. They're simply willing to function inside conditions that cause you to shut down. They make sales calls when their confidence is shattered. They publish when nobody is watching. They train when their bodies are depleted, not because they're exceptional, but because they've reprogrammed how they interpret discomfort. Think about the last moment you felt overwhelmed. What was your instinct? Did you lean into the friction, or did you escape it? Did you keep producing, or did you grant yourself permission to retreat? That single decision, repeated thousands of times, quietly separates the top 1% from everyone else. Pressure isn't distributed fairly. Pressure is constant, and your reaction to it shapes everything you become. The modern obsession with comfort isn't accidental. It's engineered. You've been trained to believe struggle means something is wrong. That difficulty signals misalignment. That pain is a malfunction instead of evidence of adaptation. Here's the reality most people refuse to accept. Comfort is not your ally. Comfort slowly suffocates potential. Every time you select ease over effort, You're casting a vote for the person you already are instead of the person you're capable of becoming. Durability isn't about appearing tough. It's about staying operational under strain. It's the discipline to maintain standards when emotions collapse, when validation disappears, when the distance between effort and payoff feels endless. Most people never build this capacity because they never stay long enough for the real test to arrive. They exit before the pressure reveals who they truly are. There's a psychological pattern that reframes everything. Some call it the valley of despair. Seth Godin refers to it as the dip. Behavioral science calls it the competence collapse. Different labels, same mechanism. When you begin anything new, there's an early spike of confidence fueled by ignorance. You don't yet understand the complexity, so your optimism is artificially inflated. Phase 1: uninformed confidence. Then reality intervenes. You realize mastery requires more time, more discipline, more sacrifice than expected. Momentum slows. Doubt enters. Motivation fades. Phase 2: informed discouragement. This is where 99% expose themselves. They don't quit because they failed. They quit because they finally see the true price of success and decide they're unwilling to pay it. A long-term study out of the University of Pennsylvania revealed this brutally. Psychologist Angela Duckworth spent years analyzing why some people outperform others despite equal intelligence and opportunity. Her conclusion was simple and uncomfortable: perseverance outweighs talent. But perseverance isn't what most people imagine. It's not grinding when you feel inspired. It's executing with precision when you feel empty. She studied West Point cadets, national spelling champions, and high-pressure commission sales performers. The consistent winners weren't more gifted. They were more willing to continue once continuation became uncomfortable. They developed what she labeled sustained passion, the ability to maintain intensity over years, not bursts of enthusiasm. And here's the part most people miss. Grit is not a personality trait. It's a trained capacity. You become durable by choosing to act every time your instincts scream. Stop. Every time you train while exhausted. Every time you create when no one is watching. Every time you execute despite fear. You are building the mental architecture that carries you through the valley. The valley is not a metaphor. It is a predictable psychological test. And most people get stuck because they fundamentally misunderstand what it is evaluating. The valley isn't measuring skill, it's measuring identity. Who are you when no one is observing? What do you do when effort and results diverge? Can you uphold your standards when no one is holding you accountable? Think of the people you admire. Elon Musk sleeping on the Tesla factory floor in 2018 as bankruptcy loomed. J.K. Rowling writing Harry Potter as a single mother on welfare, rejected 12 times. Michael Jordan, cut from his high school team, turning rejection into 15 years of relentless practice. What you see is the triumph. What you don't see is the years spent in the valley. You don't see Musk risking everything while the world called him insane. You don't see Rowling writing in cafes because she couldn't afford heat. You don't see Jordan at 5 a.m. in an empty gym, shooting the same jump shot 500 times while no one else was willing. This is the true separation point: not talent, not connections, not luck, durability. The ability to remain effective while unseen, unrewarded, and suffering. Here's why it's so brutal. The valley feels permanent. It feels like proof that you're not enough, that you chose wrong, that success is reserved for others. But the valley is a filter, not a judgment. It exists to separate the serious from the curious. Curious people quit when it's hard. Serious people adjust and persist. Curious people rely on external validation. Serious people create internal standards and meet them regardless of notice. Most people try. Trying is safe. If it fails, they can tell themselves and others they were just experimenting, that they weren't fully committed, that it didn't matter anyway. Trying is ego protection. Commitment is different. Completion is different. Completion strips away all escape routes, excuses, and illusions. You don't try to build a business. You build a business and live with the outcome. You don't try to get fit. You follow a program and measure the result. You don't try to write a book. You write 50,000 words and publish it. Most people fear completion because completion is brutal honesty. It doesn't allow hiding behind potential, someday, or fantasies of what you could achieve. Completion forces you to face exactly where you are and what you can do right now. And that mirror terrifies most people. Here's what Machiavelli understood: that modern culture ignores power isn't granted. You seize it and dare the world to take it back. Every time you wait for someone's permission. Every time you seek validation. Before you ask for permission, you're admitting that you don't trust your own judgment. And if you can't trust yourself, why should anyone else? True sovereignty is the ability to make decisions and accept the consequences without waiting for validation. Yet we've been trained to do the opposite. To poll friends, to seek parental approval, to chase consensus before we move. In doing so, we outsource our authority to people often trapped within the limits of their own fears. Think about the last major decision you made. How many voices did you consult? How many opinions did you gather? And how many of those advisors had actually accomplished what you were trying to achieve? This is the trap. We seek counsel from those who seem qualified, yet we end up listening to anyone who comforts us in staying put. Here's a simple experiment: identify the 3 people you discuss your goals with most. Ask yourself, are they ahead or behind you? Are they pushing you forward or holding you back? Are they celebrating your progress or quietly diminishing it? This isn't cruelty. It's clarity. People around you are either assets or liabilities. There is no neutral. Action creates certainty, not contemplation. You will never think your way into confidence. Certainty rewards those who move, not those who wait for the perfect moment, plan, or conditions. Machiavelli warned that it's better to act and fail than to hesitate and become irrelevant. You can adjust from action, but you cannot learn from paralysis. Military strategy offers a lesson here. The ODA loop: observe, orient, decide, act, developed by fighter pilot John Boyd, shows that the fastest cycle wins. Not the side with superior equipment, not the side with more soldiers, but the side that can process information and act while the enemy hesitates. This principle applies directly to life. While you overthink, collect opinions, or wait to feel ready, someone else is executing. They're learning from real feedback, iterating based on results, building momentum while you are designing perfect plans that never leave your desk. Speed is a weapon, not reckless speed, but decisive speed. The ability to commit with incomplete information and adjust in motion. This is how empires are built. This is how fortunes are earned. This is how ordinary people separate from the pack. Now let's talk money, the ultimate mirror of character. Poor people try to multiply what they cannot control. They buy lottery tickets. Day trade money they can't afford to lose, chase get-rich-quick schemes. They fundamentally misunderstand the link between capital and capacity. Consider this: 70% of lottery winners are broke or in debt within 3-5 years. Not because they were unlucky, but because money arrived before identity changed. The prize came before the operator evolved. This pattern repeats everywhere. Athletes retiring broke, inheritances vanishing within a generation, sudden profits disappearing as fast as they arrived. Circumstances change, but internal wiring does not. If you can't manage 1000, you won't manage 100,000. The digits change, but the operator remains the same. Here is the brutal truth. The highest return is not in assets, it's in identity. Warren Buffett began investing at 11 with 115. By 16, he had saved 5,000 through paper routes and small jobs. The money didn't make him wealthy. The identity he built did. He developed delayed gratification, the ability to think in decades, not days, and to remain rational while others panicked. Those habits, forged in adolescence, are worth billions today. Skills compound faster than capital. Character compounds longer than markets. Every hour spent building focus, execution, and the ability to uphold standards when nobody's watching is worth more than any portfolio. Skills can't be stolen. Markets can't crash them. Inflation can't devalue them. Here's a simple framework most people never follow: the 1% rule. Improve 1% every day, not across everything, but in the core competencies that drive results. Building a business. Improve sales 1%. Building your body. Improve consistency 1%. Building your mind. Improving your focus by just 1% each day might sound trivial. 1%. Insignificant, but compounded over a year. That 1% daily gain makes you 37 times better, not 37%, 37 times. This is the power of compounding applied to human capital. Here's the catch: you won't see it immediately. The first 90 days of daily improvement feel like nothing is changing. This is the valley again, testing whether you trust the process or demand instant results. The wealthy understand something the poor refuse to accept. You don't get rich by accident. You don't stay rich by luck. You become rich by evolving into the type of person who produces value. And you stay rich by becoming the type of person capable of managing complexity without losing composure. This is why lottery winners go broke, why athletes squander millions, why inheritances rarely survive 3 generations. Money arrived, but identity didn't. Invest in the operator, not the machine. A skilled operator can build a new machine. A machine without skill is just expensive decoration. This means reading when exhausted, training when sore, studying when confused, executing when afraid. This isn't motivational fluff. It's compound interest applied to your personal capital. But here is the dark truth, and most will reject it: the people closest to you, the ones who claim to love you most, are often your biggest obstacles. Not because they wish you harm, but because your growth terrifies them. When you start imposing higher standards on yourself than the group norm, you become a mirror reflecting their own stagnation. Listen closely to sabotage disguised as concern. Are you sure this is worth it? You're working too hard. You're changing. I'm just worried about you. These aren't expressions of love. They are mechanisms of control. The group is trying to pull you back into comfortable mediocrity. I watched this happen to a friend who quit drinking in a circle where alcohol defined every interaction. The pushback didn't come from strangers, it came from friends. They didn't say, "Stay stuck." They said, "One drink won't hurt. You're no fun anymore. Why are you being so extreme?" What they really meant: your choice to improve makes us uncomfortable with our choice to remain the same. The loneliness of power is real. You cannot soar while tethered to people afraid of heights. This pain is amplified because these people are often family, childhood friends, or romantic partners. Growth demands that you outgrow relationships built around a version of you that no longer exists. Here's how to separate real supporters from covert saboteurs. Genuine support looks like this. They ask about your process, celebrate small wins, hold you accountable, challenge your excuses. Fake support looks like this: they only celebrate when convenient, diminish your wins, remind you of past failures when you discuss the future, encourage breaks when momentum is building. Judge support by results, not words. People will say they believe in you, that they're proud of you, that they'll be there. But watch what they do when your success is undeniable. Do they elevate you or explain it away? Ask about your process or imply luck. Machiavelli explored this in The Prince. It's safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Today, replace fear with respect. Respect is earned through demonstration. Likability is maintained through conformity. Conformity kills exceptionalism. You will lose people on this path. You will become incomprehensible to those who knew you before. They'll call you obsessed, claim you've lost perspective, insist you've changed, and they'll frame it as negative. But change is the point. Transformation is substitution, not addition. You cannot become a new person while retaining all the habits, beliefs, and relationships of your old self. You shed the old skin. Some people were only compatible with who you used to be. This isn't cruelty, it's clarity. And clarity is compassionate, because it prevents you from wasting years maintaining relationships that were only ever functional. Elevation demands separation, not because you think you're superior, but because what you're building requires energy and standards that most people aren't offering. Let me explain the crab bucket mentality. One crab in a bucket can climb out. Add more crabs and none escape. Why? Not malice, but because if one escapes, it proves escape is possible, and the others feel inadequate. You are living in a bucket with people who have accepted limits. The moment you start climbing, expect resistance. Expect people to question your sanity, your priorities, your values. Expect them to offer sound advice on why you should stop striving and accept your current position. This is the ultimate test. Can you keep moving when everyone around you is pulling you down? If you've made it this far, you're already different from the 99% who clicked away when discomfort arrived. Everything we've covered boils down to one principle. Poverty is a choice sustained by comfort. Wealth is autonomy earned through self-discipline. The world does not reward virtue, fairness, or good intentions. It rewards capacity, the capacity to endure, to execute, to maintain standards when every impulse is screaming for ease. This is why the top 1% exist. Not luck, not connections, but because they develop the ability to function under conditions that break everyone else. From here, you have two paths. Path 1. Close this video, feel inspired for a few days, and return to the patterns that kept you stuck. Tell yourself, I'll start Monday. I'll start next month. I'll start when conditions improve. But we both know that's a lie. Conditions never improve. The only thing that changes is your ability to operate under difficulty. Path 2. Recognize that this moment found you at exactly the right time. Decide, right now, that the person you were is no longer the person you will be. Not someday, not eventually, starting with the next choice you make after this video. Transformation is not a future event. It is a present decision, repeated until it becomes your identity. The valley ends when you choose to end it. Not when circumstances shift. Not when you feel ready, but when you impose your will on reality instead of waiting for permission. Machiavelli knew fortune is a river. You can float where it takes you, or you can build channels to redirect it. But building channels requires getting in the water, getting your hands dirty, acting when everyone else waits for perfect conditions. Here's a final framework: the 72-hour rule. Research shows that when you have an idea or make a decision, you have 72 hours to take your first physical step. If you don't, your brain files it as fantasy. and the neural pathway for that goal begins to decay. The chance of acting drops below 10%. This is why so many goals die between conception and execution. People feel a spark of clarity, then wait for the perfect moment, while their brain quietly downgrades the goal to irrelevant. So here's your action plan. Within 72 hours, take one tangible step toward the thing you've been avoiding. Not planning, not researching, not thinking. Action. Fitness. One workout. Business. One call. Relationships. One honest conversation. One action that proves to your nervous system that you are serious. If you're still here, you're no longer the same person who started this video. You've been exposed to a framework most will never encounter, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The question is no longer whether you understand this. The question is whether you will act. Understanding without action is entertainment, and entertainment changes nothing. Here is your final call. If you've made it this far, leave a comment with 4 words. No explanation, no additions. Just these 4 words: the valley ends here. This is not for me. This is for you. This is for you. A public declaration of commitment, a line drawn between who you were and who you are becoming. Most people will never do this because most people aren't serious. Prove that you are different. Subscribe if you want more frameworks that separate the 1% from the 99%. This isn't motivation, it's mechanism. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next video, because the next step builds directly on everything you learned today. If you know someone stuck in the valley, share this with them, not as inspiration, but as intervention. The world isn't coming to save you. The algorithm won't make you viral. The economy won't fix itself. Your family won't suddenly grasp your vision. The only variable you control is you. And mastering yourself is the hardest thing you will ever do. But it is also the only thing that matters. Everything else is noise. Everything else is excuse. Everything else is the valley speaking. Machiavelli died in 1527, 500 years ago. Yet his understanding of human nature is more relevant than any modern self-help book. He knew people don't change because they see the light. They change because they feel the heat. And right now, you are feeling the heat. The question is simple. Will you use it to forge yourself into something stronger, or retreat to comfort and let it consume your potential? The valley ends here, not because circumstances improved, but because you decided that the person on the other side of this transformation is worth more than the comfort of remaining who you are. That decision, that singular, unshakable moment of commitment, is what separates the 1% from the 99%. Everything else is just detail. Now move.